Hello, I'm Jonathan Bowman-Perks and welcome back to my favourite time of the week. And I'm very lucky to have a good friend of mine, Mike Still. Mike I've always admired as a coach, as a mentor, as an advisor. Not only advises the Prince of Wales as part of the work he does with the Prince of Wales' Trust, but also Mike's got an amazing background. He's really dedicated his career to helping others succeed, I think is the way it would be described. Began life Boy Scouts and a lot of work in there. Aon, MD for Scotland, Marsh in UK and Ireland as an MD role, and the Young Presidents Organisation, YPO, which is very well respected and regarded for the leadership development they do to create better leaders. So a huge broad view over the 35 years of experience that Mike has accumulated and the advice that he's giving people now. So Mike, welcome. Great to have you here. Mike, what would you perhaps like to talk about as far as inspiring leadership goes, and who's inspired you over the years and the people you've met, who you've learned from?
So I think the key message there is trying to make sure that you understand not just who they were, but why, because that's the best take-home value for everybody that's listening in. So for me, probably the key people that inspired me in the early days would be my mother and father. Mum helped me be independent. She was a nurse, taught me how to look after myself, all of that sort of stuff. And my dad was a PE teacher and a top sports guy. And he helped me understand people, psychology, behaviour and about performance. So that was good. Further through the ranks, you talk about the Boy Scouts. Again, a chap called Bill Guthrie. He helped me really open my eyes to lots of different things through the Scout movement and helping everybody, me to grow, but them to grow. And then further through the ranks was my bank manager, a guy called David Kidd. He supported a lot of us through a youth club in Edinburgh and a lot of stuff that came on the back of that. And then really surrounding yourself with good people in different areas of walks of life and leadership positions right the way through life. And through the YPO network that you mentioned, I've been exceptionally lucky that I've got to meet some phenomenal business leaders that have given me significant insight and overview and mainly challenged some of my thinking and opinions. So, people like de Klerk that obviously worked with Mandela and Desmond Tutu, big decisions there. I've met him twice and some great insight from there. But leaders come at all levels. So again, speaking to people from all walks of life, I think make a big difference and give you different perspectives and understanding. But all of them, I think, are underpinned with one word, which is empathy. And I think if you have that empathy and understanding, it positions you well to lead and coach. And I think leadership isn't about an ivory tower. I think it's around just helping everybody in the community you're in, and you have a responsibility to help people develop to become the best they can be, support them in the hard times, coach them and develop them there to be better, and also in the good times help them accelerate, but also spread the good word as well, so that learning goes way beyond.
And in fact, that's one thing that many people, myself included, admire you for, is you've given a huge amount back to the community, whether it be from scouting all the way up, charities and a lot of the work that you do in Scotland and around the place. In charitable work that you've done, there's always the danger you give so much you don't look after yourself, and I think that's always something we have to watch for. But what sticks with you about inspiring people in charitable causes and community things? So
I think without people putting something back in, society can't exist in the best environment that it could do, and everybody would be selfish and a lot of things wouldn't happen, and the divide between rich and poor would get greater, between healthy and unhealthy would get greater, etc. So for me it's really important that everybody puts a little bit back in. I think to be authentic you should do it only in charities that align to the things you're interested in, and that can change over time. So it could be the Cubs or Scouts when your children are young. It could be supporting the Prince's Trust, that type of thing, as if you've got a big interest in supporting young people, or it could be in the arts, as a lot of people in the older stage of life want to support some of those things. But to be authentic, it has to be something you really care about. So again, I did an awful lot of stuff with business and community, and that was great because it was looking at resilience, it was looking at environment, it was looking at lots of stuff there to do with community and having business and the community working together. And again, for a lot of the stuff I did, it was a great organisation is a great organisation to support, and the work I did with it was important.
And I love the expression you use about 35 years in experience. Do you want to just tell people about that one?
So lifelong learning is probably the thing that underpins an awful lot of what I do. So whether it's been coming up through the ranks with the insurance world, or whether it's the Young Presidents Organisation, lifelong learning is critical. And rather than having 1 year repeated 35 times, I've always tried to be learning and changing everything I do and doing things differently. So I have 35 years of experience rather than 1 year repeated 35 times. And often if someone is isolated in terms of the environment they work in, the organisation, the division, they will have a one-dimensional view. Yeah. And I think one of the things that I encourage every leader of every business to have is surround themselves with different perspectives, whether it's business or charity or community or whatever it is, health, well-being, sport. Just get different perspectives, and that really allows you to open your eyes to, again, that word empathy and different perspectives.
Yeah, and in our last few minutes, I wanted to turn on to your experience and your background is about risk and how you cope with mistakes and problems. What would you bring as a story of when you got things wrong and how that shaped you as a leader, learning from that?
So right, I mean, again, for various reasons, I'm always trying to push myself probably too hard, and that's the chip on my shoulder that I bear. But the biggest mistakes for me generally have been I'm running too fast and wanting and having expectations on others that are probably unreasonable. But I often have more information than they have around, why it has to be done, the financial position. And certainly over the years in business, if you don't achieve certain aspects of financial performance, that can lead to downsizing, redundancies or reorganisations. And certainly for me, that's been the worst time in my life, is ever having to do that type of thing, where you're changing people's lives through fundamentally something that they don't have control over, or they've done nothing wrong. That's very true. And it's that balance of pushing them hard enough to achieve the results, but not pushing them hard enough, and therefore the consequences are significant. And I find that sometimes difficult. Still learning, still push people too hard, but part of that is the passion for success.
Yeah. And finally, top tip. What would be your top tip that you'd give leaders out there who are listening today?
So for me, the best one is, again, back to that word empathy. In every situation you find yourself in, there's at least three perspectives that you should consider. Your own one, which you'll know pretty quickly based on all your years of experience and years of prejudice and misperception. There is the opposition or the opposing view in terms of it. So if you really try and take time to empathise and understand what they're talking about and where they're positioned from, that will help. And then the important other one is that view from the helicopter or the video camera, looking completely independent with no prejudice, no perspective, just absolutely a photograph in that description. And if you can put those three views together, you will be in a position to make better, more informed decisions that will be better. You won't get them right all the time, but again, that ability to have an open mind to things will allow you, when you do get it wrong, even with that approach, to then stop, challenge and choose again, and again with the new information. So, reflect on it, stop, challenge all your thinking, and then choose the outcome based on a well-informed three-way perspective. That would be my advice.
Brilliant advice. Mike, thank you. It's been great having you here.
Pleasure.
And good luck in continuing to give wise advice to people on risk and a whole variety of things. And
always a team effort. Always a team effort.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Cheers.